Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You might remember from some of our earlier videos this brown granite countertop that we decided to leave because it was too time consuming to redo at the time. I didn't know for sure what we wanted to do about the countertops, but I knew that this paint had to come off. It started chipping and bubbling and it was just getting really worn and torn looking and old, and we needed to do something about that. I started looking into easy and inexpensive ways to redo these granite countertops. After lots of research and plenty of YouTube videos, we decided to go with epoxy because I figured that that was the most hygienic surface, the hardest, easiest to clean, and the thing that would be most likely to work over the granite. We took advantage of being closed for 2 days over Christmas to get this project done because we knew we were going to need the empty store and to be able to tape off and for people not to have to touch the counters. Of course, it helps to have the store empty when you're making this big of a mess with all of this sanding too. It was impossible to get into all of those cracks and crevices with the sander, so we decided to use this non-toxic stripper, apply it, and set it underneath the plastic for a couple of hours to get the paint to peel off with minimal effort. I have to say though, as easy as it was to get all of the paint off with the paint stripper, it was removing the residue from the paint stripper that took most of our time with this project. But finally, with no more sanding dust in the air, it was time for us to get started on the countertops. We sanded all of the counter surfaces with the orbital sander, and the next step is to put on a single coat of bonding primer, but looking back, we probably should have done 2 coats. All of the videos we watched said you didn't need a very thick coat of this, but the granite is very porous, and it seemed like it just kind of absorbed the first layer, so we really should have put a second one on. We also learned the hard way that the epoxy we were using was not to be used over an oil-based paint. I'm not sure how we missed it in all of our research, but 11 o'clock on Christmas Eve, there we were realizing our mistake, and we had to figure out a way to fix it fast. The paint we chose was a very shiny, glittery silver in an effort to kind of make it look like stainless steel under the epoxy. We really loved the way that the silver color turned out, but again, like I said, it was oil-based and we had to figure out a way to fix that. Thankfully, my brother happened to have an entire gallon of polyurethane in his garage, so I called up my brother and said, hey, can we come borrow that polyurethane? We have to put a coat over this before we epoxy it, otherwise the epoxy will not stick. It did set us back about 8 hours having to stop and put that coat of polyurethane on, but it did work like a charm. After we put the polyurethane on, we poured the epoxy and it was perfect. I was so thankful that there was such a simple solution because we could have really ended up in a pickle being that it was Christmas Eve and nothing is open on Christmas Day. We did our best to prepare for that, but we knew there was still a possibility that something could happen, so we're very thankful for my brother who just happened to make a cornhole set and had to finish it with polyurethane about a week before. I love the way this epoxy turned out. It's super shiny, it looks way more professional, it looks like it belongs in a restaurant. We've been using them for about 2 weeks now and they look awesome. They're also very durable, they're very easy to clean, and they don't hide dirt and grime and wet spots like the granite does. While the counters were curing, it was time to get back to the cabinet. You can see here that the stripper has done its job and all of that paint is ready to just peel right off, which for the most part it did, just like this. It's pretty satisfying, but very sticky, very gooey, very difficult to get clean. We probably fully soaked and scrubbed this cabinet about 3 times with degreaser, and then at the end finished it with mineral spirits to kind of dry it out and get it ready for paint. Like I said, the cleaning part took the most time. This is actually after we'd already been open for 4 days. We finally got the primer on, and then the first coat of red. After the first coat, I was seriously doubting my design choices because it was looking a little pink, but after a couple more coats, it started to look more rich like the rest of the restaurant. We were having to get coats on every night after the restaurant closed and then allowing it to dry for the day in between. That's why this little barrier is here, because everybody knows that wet paint signs only make people want to touch it more. I'm so happy with the way this turned out. I think it looks super professional. It looks a lot cleaner. It looks a lot brighter. When you come in from the front, it just looks so much more like a restaurant, like it belongs there. I'm so thankful for my husband's help and a couple of our friends and my brother and everybody who helped us get this done over Christmas. It took a lot more time and was a lot more work than I expected, but in the end, it was 100% worth it, and I'm totally thrilled with the way it came out. Here's a couple of before and after pictures. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. I know we're not a DIY channel, but we really appreciate all of our subscribers following along and coming with us on this journey.